Hey, what's going on, everybody? This week we got a special guest. This is Chad Unrein from Mockingbird Tiny Homes, and we always get questions about tiny homes and, you know, can you do them here? Where do you get them? Are there manufacturers? And so Chad is a local business owner who started this business a couple of years ago. We'll hear about his story, but I wanted to bring him on and kind of ask him about some of the details about tiny homes, the process, and answer some of your guys' questions. So to get started, tell us about Mockingbird Tiny Homes, your background,
Sure.
how you got this thing started.
Yeah, so my background's actually in finance, but Mockingbird Tiny Homes was kind of born out of a dream of me and my wife when we were looking for places to live.
Yep.
When you know, we were first here on the island, and you know, cost of living was just so expensive that we started seeing the shows and kind of following the movement of tiny homes.
Yep.
And you know, before my career in finance, I did a lot of building back in Colorado, even small spaces like this. So it was interesting that, you know, as we got deeper and deeper into the idea of doing this, I realized I can just build this. You know, I don't need to
find
do
somebody to
anything
do it.
crazy. I can pull this off. You know, get some help from friends, get some electricians and plumbers on board to make sure we're
Yep.
doing everything correctly. And that's how it started. It started with us with the idea we were going to build one for ourselves.
Okay.
And you know, the idea just kept churning, and
Okay.
eventually we got to the point where we decided we could probably build these for people here in Hawaii, and it might be a good market because
Right.
of the cost of living, and the same, you know, reason that led us down this path would lead other people down this path to choose to go tiny, to save some money and to just minimize their footprint.
Makes sense.
So yeah, the idea was born from kind of a need for us to find affordable housing, and it's become now to the point where we have 5 employees and we're building 2 houses at a time.
Wow, it's killer, man.
Yeah.
So what's the process to build a tiny home? Like, if somebody's interested in it, how do they get started? And, you know, what does that process look like when they come to you and you start talking to them?
Sure, yeah. So initially people usually reach out on our website, which is mockingbirdtinyhomes.com. There's a contact form on there, and it's also another link that says start your journey or start your tiny build. So you click on that and you can fill out our contact form. At that point, we'll be in touch with you as far as kind of timeline, goals, different things. Mm-hmm. Once we get to the point where we realize that you are getting ready to want to make a move to build tiny or to go tiny, we'll then invite you out to the shop for a tour.
Okay.
We'll get to meet you face to face. So once that process is all done and you choose us as your builder, that's when we start with a design fee of $500.
Okay.
And that will kind of get your foot in the door. We'll start working, you know, we're a fully custom builder, so it's really important for us to work with the client to design the home, you know, to fit their needs. You know, when you're going to live in something this small, every space has to be organized for you personally,
right,
or it's not going to be as comfortable as you know, you need it to be. So that's a big part for us, is the design phase.
So that's an important note. So it's not like you have a lot where you come and you like a car, or you like buy a car, or you go to you go to showings with regular real estate where you're looking at already built homes. Like, really, this from the step one is totally custom. You help somebody design it exactly the way they want it, every single detail in the house, pretty much, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go pick every finish, anything that they want to do that it might be, you know, kind of off the wall, or just, I need some extra storage, let's stuff it into this corner, or whatever it might be. We figure all that out in 2D and 3D before we even quote the home.
Okay, okay.
You know, actually the next step of the process is, at that point, once we know what we're going to build for you, that's when we give you an estimate, and you can decide at that point if you want to pay cash or if you want to explore financing options. Okay.
So before we get into the payment piece of it, like, in general, like, what is the range so people can kind of get an idea if you want to go super basic versus like really custom, high-end, nice finishings and stuff? What is kind of the general range you've seen people's costs be?
So as far as we've gone, being fully custom has, you know, let us build things from 14 feet all the way up to 30 feet.
Okay.
So the range is huge. You know, the very basic 14-footer comes in around $30,000.
Okay.
That's finished. So, you know, we also build shells, and we'll basically take a build from the framing and waterproofing of the home to whatever point you need us to stop, and you'll come in and finish if you want to do a DIY build.
Okay.
So there's a way to save money there. But for finished homes, very basic 14-footer, you're looking at $30,000, all the way up to, we've done some in the $120,000, $140,000 range.
Okay.
Granite, tile, you know, all the
I've been in a couple of them. They're amazing. Yeah.
So, and today your agents will actually get to see, you know, 3 really different builds that we have kind of completed that are from the $30,000 range all the way up to the $100,000 range.
Okay, so if you don't have the cash, you touched on financing. Are there financing options? What does that look like kind of in general?
Sure, yeah. So just from a very basic standpoint, you always have the option of checking with your bank. Maybe you can secure an unsecured line, different options like that to finance the home. We've had, in fact, the first tiny home finance in the state of Hawaii was done with a private loan from a local bank for a client of ours. So, you know, that all was on the client side.
Yep.
As far as our partners, we're partnered with Liberty Bank of Utah. Okay. And they've been excellent. So they're one of the only partners in the industry that we know of that will, you know, you'll inspect the home, use it as collateral, and actually give you, you know, a proper rate, you know, on these instead of just a crazy interest rate for an unsecured line, unsecured loan. So, so you know, we've found them to be the best.
It's different than single-family residence type, normal, traditional, conventional financing for a home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we'll get into a little bit of how these homes are viewed here in the state, but one of the big things to keep in mind is that they're RVs.
Right.
So the loan is not a mortgage. It's similar to a mortgage, but it's for an RV. So it's an RV loan.
Okay.
And when you know we do it that way, there's definitely pros and cons.
Right.
And that's typically how the bank looks at it.
In general, how much do you need down?
So if it's going to be your primary living space, you're looking at 20%.
Okay.
And if it's a secondary home, you're looking at 30%.
Okay. That's a good ballpark to get an idea of what your overall budget needs to be and how much money you got to have down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like buying a traditional home, the hardest part is coming up with that down payment, you know, to support the home that you want. And even in the small living, you know, that's the biggest bridge for most of our clients to cross. It's just getting that money saved. It's nothing near what you would put down.
It's still a fraction on a $700,000 house or something, right?
But it's still hard for a lot of people to have $15,000 laying around, you know, especially right now. So that's our biggest hurdle right now, is that initial down payment.
So in general, can you touch on like the legalities of tiny homes and how does that work in terms of?
Yeah. So as we mentioned a little bit, they're you know, fully looked at by the county as an RV.
Okay.
So the rules for living in an RV in Hawaii are it cannot be your permanent residence. And it needs to be proven that it could be movable.
Okay.
So you know, we build all of our homes on trailers that are, you know, specially built here on the Big Island.
You can see them back there.
Yeah, we got a lot going on right now. But these are built by a local manufacturer in Hilo, and they've taken our design, the way that we like the trailer. So it's basically, you know, proprietary design on the trailer, and he recreates them for us in all the different sizes.
Okay.
The reason we do it that way is we found, you know, starting on traditional trailers and working into actual tiny home trailers that are made to have a home built on them, we found some really cool ways to modify the trailer to add, you know, some value to the home.
Okay.
One of them being the bump outs that we like to do in the cantilevered lofts. But in addition to that, just the way that we run our floor joists and the type of axles we use allow for us to lower the overall deck height, which then in turn adds height inside the home because we can only build to 14 feet tall.
Got it.
So the lower the trailer, the higher the home feels inside. You know? And you know, it might only be 4 to 6 inches, but in a 300 square foot home, that's a huge difference. So.
Okay. So important, I guess, a note to make is, you know, check with the local county and state agencies on what your plans are to make sure that you know what you're doing is cool, where you're doing it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, and that's kind of on the real estate side too. We can help you in terms of CCNRs and zoning and different types of things. So that's an important piece to look into in all of this. So
and the other important part of that when you're working with your realtor is getting into the utilities and making sure that as a custom builder we can retrofit that however you want, whether you want to use a composting toilet or a traditional toilet. We do 30 amp and 50 amp power in hookups. I can go into detail a little bit about how that works, but the main thing when you're shopping for your land or for a place to put the home is understanding what you're going to do with your utilities. Most of our customers choose a composting toilet and then have us rough in plumbing for a regular toilet as well.
Okay.
That way, if they ever do decide to go back on grid or move the home to a permanent area where they have a septic hookup, they'll hook up to it.
Okay.
But the idea being that they can go anywhere at that point.
Yep. Lots of flexibility. So you can hook up power-wise. You can wire it so it can hook up to Helco or generator or solar or kind of whatever your wishes are. Right?
So just like a traditional RV, we have a plug on the back of the home. Well, we can put it anywhere on the home. We like to put it on the back if possible. And the way that works is you have a 30 amp or a 50 amp hookup. Just like if you were to go to an RV park on the mainland and see those bigger plugs, that's the way we set it up.
Okay.
So that being said, you can go from generator to solar to on grid with Helco, just by unplugging and plugging in the other option.
Okay.
So yeah, you set your solar system up so that it feeds out in whatever amperage we need to come into the home. If you're running a generator, you just have to have a generator big enough, and if you're connected to Helco, you have to have a licensed electrician come out and put an RV pole on your property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and you do have people that buy these and then put them on a family's property where you have electric and a sewer hookup and water and stuff, and that can be figured out also, right? Just to kind of tap into something that's existing already on a property.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always the buyer's decision on how they want to handle that. But we, whether it be water or power or sewage, are capable of even giving you multiple options in the home to where you can switch back and forth.
Okay.
So the big thing is on the choosing of the side or knowing where you're going to place the home is knowing what you have capability of hooking up to, whether it be now or in the future, so that we can build the house properly.
Okay. And there's other things you can do design-wise on some of these that you have in the shop here, where you can plan for what you want it to look like, right? If you want to build a deck off the front, you can put sliding doors, or you can build a deck on top of the home and stuff, right? I mean, a lot of cool stuff that you can do that you really got to think about.
We're fully custom.
Yeah.
So it brings us always brings us back to that point, and that is we're not building what we think you're going to like. We're going to build what you want.
Okay.
And that's just kind of been our business model the entire time, and something that we're very proud of, because you see a lot of people that build homes, these tiny homes, kind of like an RV, where they're just building it and they're putting in their ideas of what
they're just mass producing them. Every one size fits all.
And it's difficult at that point to really live in one, because you need to think about what your hobbies are, where you spend your time indoors, and create those spaces that are going to be comfortable for you in your tiny home. And so we've been approached by numerous people who think we should be an assembly line, and I've always just said, this is the way we do it for a reason, and it's because we want our clients to feel like they're at home when they're inside this, and make it very comfortable for their style of living.
Makes sense. So what's that timeline look like? I know you're kind of booked out a few months already, even into next year, but from beginning to end, what does a timeline look like if I want to I'm ready, I got the cash or I got the financing, and I tell you to get started today, what does that timeline look like to get one of these put together?
Yeah, so from, typically that actually doesn't ever happen because we're so far deep in the design phase that we kind of have an idea of when those things are going to happen. We work so closely with our clients in the design phase that even though we might not be starting to build the home for 6 months or whatever, once they put that down payment, I'm ordering materials, I'm ordering trailers and that stuff, so that basically once your build spot lines up and we start building, everything's here that we need.
Okay.
And from that moment, it's about 2 to 3 months, depending on the size of the home.
Okay.
The break is like 22 feet. So 22 and under, we can do in about 2 months.
Okay.
Some even 1 month.
Okay.
22 above 22, is usually going to take 3 months.
And then depends on the amount of customization. If you're doing tile or if you're doing special.
Just like a standard home. If we're putting a lot of finishing work into them. The price goes up and the timeline goes up. It just takes us that much longer to do that kind of craftsmanship.
And I wanted to note too that you really don't have to sacrifice the normal amenities of a home. Like most of the homes that you're building have full-size kitchens, right? Full-size stoves, full-size refrigerators, full-size bathrooms. I even saw one with a tub in it, right? It's going to have an actual soak-in tub in it. So there's no...
it's all about figuring out what you like and what you need. You know, most of our homes, in fact, the only home to date that we've sold with a dishwasher is our model home, which is the first one that I thought needed to have a dishwasher, right? So it's back to, you know, me making a decision isn't necessarily the best.
What the market wants, right?
Everyone else has come and said, I don't need a dishwasher. You know, so, but in the model home, the idea was to put it in there so that you could see it can happen, right? And that's what, now that we have such a big portfolio of homes, is really cool, because we can show that you can fit a tub in these, you can fit a dishwasher, you know, you can have a nice big sink. We have some with beautiful farmhouse apron sinks. You know, it's what you want, and I think that's the really, you know, the key to keep driving home is, you know, that's why we're custom. That's why we're staying custom.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what else, man? What else can you share about? Anything else you want to share with the folks on Tiny Homes? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, like you touched on a little bit, our build schedule is really hectic right now. So, you know, if it's something you want to get started, even just going down the design phase and kind of learning about the process, the earlier the better, because we're constantly moving and kind of shaping our build schedule based on our clients. Some people call and say, you know, I need this ready in a year. And some people call and say, I need one as fast as possible, right? So I can switch those around, you know, when I have the flexible clients, but I can't do that if I don't know that you want one, you know? So get on our radar, let us know it's something you're thinking about, because then we can start to plan, you know, how we're gonna build that home and when we're gonna be able to build that home. The other things I think that are important, you know, give us a call. Check out our webpage and drop us a contact form so that we can kind of get you, you know, scheduled to come check out the homes if it's something you're interested in. There's a lot of things that we do, you know, that set us apart as a builder. That's why I truly believe we're the premier tiny home builder in all of Hawaii, actually. And I like to show those things off. So, you know, we're fully inspected by the National Office of Alternative Housing. We're doing a lot of things that really solidify these homes for high winds. You know, when you're towing the home, it's like putting it through a hurricane. So we do a lot of things with our tie downs and different things that we do that I like to show off, because I think it sets us apart as a builder. So get on our radar, come down and check it out, and we'll give you a tour and we'll show you all that stuff.
So I know you did quick contact information at the beginning. What's all your contact info? And I'll put it in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach us at 785-9533 if you're a phone person. If you want to just fill out the contact form and go by email, just go to mockingbirdtinyhomes.com and fill out our contact us page, and our office manager Roxy will be in touch to kind of see where you're at, and if you want to come down and schedule a tour, we'll be able to facilitate that. Cool.
Where does Mockingbird Tiny Homes come from?
So it's on our website, and I'm going to give you two answers to that, and my wife's gonna laugh at me. But the reason that we are Mockingbird Tiny Homes, and we're really proud of kind of the way that shaped out, was the mockingbird in nature mimics other birds. And our homes mimic the feel and the appeal of the full-size home, even though they're smaller and a little more cost effective. The real answer is because my wife's favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, and
fair enough.
And that's where it started. So.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. I'm really looking forward to today and getting to know some of your clients. And you know, obviously, if you guys are looking for land to place these, this is the man to call.
Right on. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.